Greetings, and welcome to A Year of Movies, a Planet Geek production. For this project, we are using the Ivan Walters reference book of 365 films to watch on the day they happened. Each day, we watch a movie associated with the date we are watching it on.
And as it is the 19th of June, we are going to be watching Total Recall from 1990, directed by Paul Verhoeven and starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, we're dealing with one of those movies from one of those eras that everyone went to see, and this is definitely one that everyone went to see when it first came out. Not only do we have a fantastical story to begin with, but we are dealing with a huge box office action star in Arnold Schwarzenegger, and also having Paul Verhoeven doing a Philip K. Dick story in it, this huge bombastic like late 80s early 90s sort of sci-fi spectacular. So it was kind of impossible not to have seen this. Also, it's a movie that I watch constantly throughout the years, but however, it has been a little while since the last time I'd actually seen this movie, so it was a great rewatch. And like I already mentioned, not only does this movie star Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it also stars Sharon Stone, Ronnie Cox, Michael Ironside, Rachel Ticotin, Marshall Bell, Mel Johnson Jr., and Roy Brocksmith. So Douglas Quaid, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, is a bored construction worker in the year 2084 who dreams of visiting the colonized Mars. He visits a company called Recall that plants false memories into people's brains in order to experience the thrill of Mars without actually having to travel there. But something goes wrong during the procedure. Quaid discovers that his entire life is actually a false memory, and that the people who implanted it in him now want him dead. Now, several years later, there was a remake of this, but technically more of a more loyal version of the original Philip K. Dick story, but it's nothing compared to the Technicolor fever dream that this movie is. This is a quintessential Schwarzenegger at probably his zenith. He basically, every line is pretty much quotable. The visuals are so stunning. The special effects are like top notch. Not only do we deal with miniature work, blue screen work, we also deal with puppetry and fantastic animatronics. At the time, probably the most realistic looking versions, especially when you're dealing with a facial structure of Arnold Schwarzenegger, where you don't have the ability to 3D scan a face and create a computer generated version of these faces. No, you actually have physical on set, and that's the other thing too. There's a lot of really cool practical effects. There's some really cool squib work. There's some really good gun violence, and I'd have to look this up, but the budget for shattering glass has probably got to be the biggest one in the era, because every single second scene has someone either smashing through a window or having a window exploded or something, and just like raining down shards of broken glass. The movie is such a fun ride. We have Michael Ironside being a fantastic heel, and Ronnie Cox as the head bad guy is just doing the perfectness of the role. Schwarzenegger playing up this should-be normal average guy as, built like Arnold Schwarzenegger. So when you go into that sort of situation, you push that aside and yeah, okay, Schwarzenegger's the average looking kind of guy and all that. But it's such a fun ride. Early Sharon Stone doing fantastic work as well. And it is just such a treat to watch. It's one of those movies where you don't really have to pay attention, but you can't sort of not look away. It's just so fantastical. One of my biggest questions that I have with this movie, though, is I wonder if the Toronto Blue Jays actually do win the 5th game of the World Series against the Tokyo Samurais. And after realizing that the answers to what has happened to him lies on Mars, Quaid actually arrives on Mars on June 19th, 2084, which is about 43 minutes into this 1 hour and 53-minute movie. And on that note, we're going to wrap up this particular episode and look off into the future to see what we're going to be watching for tomorrow, which is going to be the 20th of June, and that is going to be Marty from 1955. So until next time, go see a movie.